turn it up. Yeah. Clock eyes, Uncle Dave.
It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty. Hey, let's talk what moves to do, who to trade for who. Get your fantasy stats and the place to boot. Get the plans for the draft and the major clues. With the home Sean, Joey, and Andrew. Dan dudes got the hot takes. Every stop place, not base, plot cases. Man, hit the streams of fate. Talking teams and plays. But let's get to the show, man. See you later.
All right, welcome back to Dynasty Football Digest. My name is Sean. You can find me on Twitter at Lanny1925. I am here with my co-host Andrew.
Hey, what's up? You can find me at BiddyCentFF.
And Joey.
What's up? You can find me at Joey the Tooth IDP.
All right, so we are going to take a break from the rookies a little bit today and do some buy-sell holds because we've been doing a lot of startups lately, and we kind of been seeing some guys that are going a little too low, some that are going a little too high, and some that are probably going to be going a little bit higher couple of weeks from now, maybe after the NFL draft. So we're going to kick it off with our players that we are buying right now. Andrew, you want to give us yours to start here?
Are we going positionally?
Yeah.
Just doesn't really matter. Just kind of pick somebody that you're buying right now.
Okay, just any player. Okay. I think probably my biggest buy right now is Will Dissly. I think I got him just about every single one of the startups we did. I think he's going somewhere in like the 20s of tight ends in startups, which I think is way too low. Obviously, there's some injury concern there, but he was incredibly productive when he was healthy, both of the last 2 years. So it's hard to get a read whether or not he's injury prone, if you believe in that at this point in his career, but I think that there's a strong possibility that if he comes back, he's going to be, at least top 10 tight end, if not even higher, maybe in the top 5. So,
yeah, I can see it. They didn't really address the position in free agency yet either. They put a second-round tender on Hollister, which means they'll probably retain him, but I don't think he really threatens Dissly's job at all.
Yeah, and this tight end class is not a great class to really threaten your job either. So
yeah.
There's a good chance that he's still in the same situation he was in last year, and that was very productive for him when he was playing. So, Joey, give us a buy.
I'm going to actually stay with the Seahawks, and I'm going to buy Chris Carson. He's still only 25. He's had 2 super productive seasons. He's coming off a hip injury, which actually lowers his value, and he's still dropping quite a bit. I mean, he's coming off his second straight 1,000-yard season. He was more involved in the passing game last season. He had, I think, 7 or 8 touchdowns, I think. And people are still sleeping on him. He's going way past David Montgomery. And I don't know. I feel like Carson's kind of a value.
Yeah, I think if you're in a win-now situation, that's probably true. When you say he's only 25, 25 is kind of getting there for running backs. They've kind of been starting to fall off a cliff right around 26, 27, somewhere in there. So you might only get another year of him. And I think that's why in startups, he's falling a little bit because nobody wants to rebuild their running back position after a year or two,
I did that in our league.
Yeah. I mean,
mid-season.
I went and I took Carson in a league too, where it was, I'm in it with you guys. I took Carson and Ingram, but then I also had 2 of the higher rookie picks. So kind of the idea was to have them be stopgaps in case I don't land the rookie running backs. But, but yeah, I like Carson as a value for this year. I think long-term his value is probably not great or sustainable. So for me, he might actually be kind of heading toward that sell list, depending on your situation, your team. But I could see him as a buy if you're a contender this year. Andrew, any thoughts on Carson?
I like Carson. I think he probably does have some value. I think he's probably going a little bit later than he should. However, I actually had Rashad Penny as one of my buys, so I think that the value there is a little bit higher because you can get him so much later, and I think they both have very similar upside. Penny looked really, really good last year before he got hurt. I'm not saying that he was starting to take the job, but they were finding ways to use him. And if anything were to happen to Carson, I think that Penny would have immense value.
Okay. So for me, my buy is Tyler Boyd. He's going like decently early in startups, but like he's going about the same place he was last year. Like I'm not certain that the market has corrected for the fact that they are going to have Joe Burrow instead of Andy Dalton, and I think that's a big deal. So to me, I think that even though you're still paying for Tyler Boyd, I don't think you're paying as much as what you should be paying for him. So I really like the Tyler Boyd value just based on the presumed uptick in quarterback play.
Do you think there's an uptick in his value year one, or is this a long-term buy?
I think probably both, to be honest. I don't think Dalton was doing him any favors, and I think having AJ Green on the field probably helps. Because I don't really think that Auden Tate was demanding coverage, right? And like AJ Green's definitely starting to get, he's on the downturn of his career, but I think he still definitely demands more respect than Auden Tate did.
Oh yeah, by far.
So I just kind of think that things are going to be better for Boyd next year, and he was really productive last year, and I think also long-term things are going to be better for Boyd as well.
Yeah, they need that offensive line to protect Burrow first and foremost.
Yeah, and like while that's big for Burrow, I don't think it's nearly as big for wide receivers. Like it certainly affects the passing game, but I don't think there's.
I just worry for a rookie quarterback. No, Burrow has been fantastic from what we've seen, but
yeah. No, I hear you. Andrew, do you have another buy?
Yeah, I got a few guys. So we're talking one QB or Superflex, because I got a couple QBs that I think are decent buys.
I think one too. Either one.
Yeah, in Superflex, I think Stafford is a really good buy. He's going down to like the late teens, I think, and he's still relatively young. He's actually younger than I thought he was. I think 31, 32? Yeah. It feels like he's been in the league for over a decade. Which maybe he has at 32, but he's still got good years left in him, I think. And last year he was really, really efficient when he was healthy. So I think there's certainly a possibility that he finishes in the top 10 this year, and I think he's going outside the top 15. So I think Stafford's a good buy.
Yeah, I actually have Stafford as my hold at QB.
Yeah, you're kind of a bitch, and after we discussed Stafford on the Power Hour,
dude, I've been on Stafford all year.
No, you haven't. I took him in every single startup we've had.
Well, yeah, once you started doing that, I made sure I got there before you. Because every other startup I've been in, I've been able to get him as my QB too. Like I'll grab like Matt Ryan.
Everyone I'm not in with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, then as soon as we do that Power Hour podcast, you snipe him like 3 rounds earlier than where he had been going, and then
I just pay attention. I'm like, all right, Sean's here. I'm gonna have to go here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I was at least nice enough to let you know when I was gonna take Michael Pittman.
I know.
Then I even gave you a couple of rounds of grace period, and you didn't take him. I was like, fuck it, all right. It's time.
I had so many holes to fill at that point, and I had already grabbed Mims and Ruggs. I was like, all right,
yeah,
I can let him go.
We got a trade to talk about later. So yeah, no, I really like Stafford as a value. Joe, you got somebody?
I actually think Derek Carr can be a value.
Mm-mm.
I know, not a lot of people like him, but he's with Gruden. He's got another year with Gruden. They're going to add some weapons on the outside. I mean, Tyrell Williams is not a wide receiver one by any means. So they're going to add a receiver in the first round. Carr had a very good completion percentage, and I saw a stat the other day. It was like in the first 8 seasons of a career, he was like top 5 in completions, and that was having 2 or 3 years of Amari Cooper, who was just dropping the ball like half the time he was thrown to. So you figure just give me a second. Give the weapons that Carr had, and what they're going to give him this year. I just think he can actually be a value.
Okay, we're not going to cite drop rate of Amari Cooper as acting like Amari Cooper wasn't a weapon for them, though. You had Amari Cooper, you had Michael Crabtree over there. Those were good weapons. But as like, do you think they brought in Mariota for nothing?
Yes. I don't think so. Derek Carr, since his rookie year, has been a Gruden guy. If you watch Gruden's QB camp that year, he said that Derek Carr can be the best quarterback out of that class. He was big on
that was before he coached him, though.
He loved all his traits though, and now he's still. It's not like those traits go away.
I guess
he's a Gruden QB. He's a Gruden system QB.
If I love a quarterback, I'm not going out and signing a priority backup. Like, you don't, like, this feels very much like the Trubisky-Foles situation where, like, you don't see any of these teams that have quarterbacks that they believe are the future going out and signing premier backups.
Well, all right, so you're really going to say Mariota's a premier backup?
Absolutely. Name 5 other backup QBs that you would rather have run your team than Mariota.
I'd take Nick Mullins.
What the fuck? Okay, Nick Mullins. Put Nick Mullins
So, all
there.
right.
1.
Well, so just hear me out though. As a buy, you figure he gets added weapons. No, like Derek Carr is getting drafted in the Mitch Trubisky range, like that. What QB like 30?
It's because they're in very similar situations, and people don't believe they're going to finish. He's going to finish the year.
But that team is getting much better. The Raiders team has gotten much better this offseason, and they're going to add some weapons in the draft for him. And I think he can have a value. He's still a good quarterback. I am not out on Carr. I always thought Carr was a good quarterback. I just thought he had Crabtree and Cooper for a couple of years. Other than that, he had nothing.
Okay. We'll check back in on this around like week 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And see if
I hope I'm right. This was kind of my reach, but he's a buy for me.
Yeah.
So just let me weigh in here for a second. So I had Carr as a hold because I don't think there's enough compelling evidence for me to actually go out and buy him. But if I had him on my team, I would hold him long enough to see if he did carry some value at some point in the season and try to sell him then. I was looking for his average depth of target numbers, which I cannot find. However, you cited his completion percentage, which was certainly very high this year. However, this stat I did find, which was average yards to the sticks, he was the third lowest. He had a negative 2.3 average yards to the sticks on his. I can't tell if that's completions or attempts. Air yards to the sticks. So he was more so than any other quarterback other than Teddy Bridgewater and Sean's favorite Jimmy Garoppolo, throwing short of the sticks. That's not super great company to be in. Also very interesting is the next 2 above him are Joe Flacco and Marcus Mariota.
Yep. Joe Flacco is a deep ball thrower though, but think of like what I'm saying, like the weapons that Derek Carr has. He had Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller.
We're not arguing about the weapons. I'm arguing whether he's going to remain the quarterback.
I think he's going to remain the quarterback. He's going to remain the quarterback. I'm going to say it right now. I'm doing this. I'm having this buy based on him. I'm convinced he's going to keep that job. And I think the added weapons on the outside, making Tyrell Williams an actual wide receiver 2 as opposed to trying to make him a wide receiver 1 will open things up.
I guess the weapons are completely irrelevant here, in my opinion, because like if he keeps his job, he's a buy. If he doesn't, then he's not. So like it really the weapons don't really mean anything to me. Where he's being drafted right now is assuming that he's not going to keep his job.
So just to add on, in 2018, he was the lowest in, I don't have the number, but he was lowest in average depth of target. And 2019, he was tied for 4th lowest average depth of target. That's why he has a really high completion percentage, because he's throwing short passes. Yes,
because his only receivers are under routes.
Tyrell Williams is not an under route receiver.
Tyrell Williams was your wide receiver 1 getting covered by top corners, and he's not a wide receiver 1.
Derek Carr's also averse to throwing into tighter windows downfield, as evidenced by his usage of Amari Cooper in the time that he was there. He was not used as a deep threat. He was used primarily over the middle and on crossing.
All right, I'm going to do my buy. Brandon Cooks, the big trade, obviously sending him to the Texans. increases his value, but it doesn't seem like the value really caught up with him. That trade happened before I took him in the last startup by like a day. I think I took him in like round 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. And last year was the first year he didn't have over 1,000 yards, and the offense wasn't performing over in LA. And Jared Goff's obviously not the best quarterback, and on top of that, he's sitting there fighting with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and company. So, and they're kind of a run first offense. So, like, to me, Brandon Cooks is right back to where he was before last year, and he was going top 5 rounds in startups last year. So, he's still only 26 too. So yeah, Brandon Cooks is a buy for me. But we are going to take a short break, and we'll come back to talk some of our sells.
You don't want to hear our opinion on your bot?
He doesn't.
I mean, go ahead.
I think he's a buy. Yeah, I think he's a buy. I just worry about his concussions, but there's nobody else in Houston.
Yeah, I think at his price, he's probably a buy. I'm not going on to buy him just because you mentioned his concussions. I also think that the scheme is not going to be as friendly to him in Houston, where Hopkins made most of his money on contested catches. I don't think that's necessarily where Cooks is going to make his money. He's going to have, I think, a lot more attention because he's not going to get schemed open as well as McVay does a good job of getting his receivers open in good spots. So I don't think he's going to maybe have the same upside that he did. I think there might be higher volume but lower quality of targets.
Okay, but on the flip side, he's been with several other quarterbacks. Like, it's not just the Texans, and like, he's been successful there. So yes, if you're going to ask tiny Brandon Cooks to go be a contested catch wide receiver, that's going to be a problem. But that's not what they're going to ask him to do. He's not.
But he's had good coaches: Belichick, Sean Payton, Sean McVay. He's going to Bill O'Brien.
No, that's but like, Will Fuller's productive when he's on the field,
Yeah.
There's no reason that, yeah. But, all right. Now we'll be back to talk holds, sells.
Are you ready to take your fantasy draft to the next level? Order your rookie draft guide today, covering 122 rookie prospects in both IDP and offense. A collaboration between your favorite analysts. Pre-order at idpguys.org and dynastyfootballdigest.com.
All right, we're back, and we are going to talk some of our dynasty sells right now. Andrew, you want to kick it off here?
Nice try.
Yeah, I'm going to say just about any running back over the age of 24. But specifically, let's talk about Derrick Henry. He's a sell for me.
You're such a dick. You're such a dick.
Was that your sell?
You literally listened to me put together my sell list.
He was minesweeping, bro.
So
he was minesweeping.
I had my sell list made up an hour ago. So
right, but come on, how many sell lists do you have to?
Way to be prepared, John. Way to be prepared.
Well,
I was prepared.
Hey,
I came with my guys to talk about it.
I have more than enough, so I can pass on Derrick Henry, and you can have him.
It's fine. We'll talk about Derrick Henry.
I'm gonna say in that case, I just want to try to pick a different position, right? Because we talked about quarterbacks quite a bit. So I'm gonna say Darren Waller.
Yeah,
I think that was his best. I think last year is going to have been his best fantasy year in his career. So I think he's on a high. I think he's older than people realize because he entered the league and then he kind of left the league for a couple of years because he had some drug problems. I think he's rehabilitated from. Good for him for overcoming that and turning his career around. But he's a little bit older than I think people think that he is. So I think, certainly tight ends have longer careers than other positions typically. But I also think that, like you had referenced earlier, the offense is kind of tailored to his skill set, whereas I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case for the duration of his career. So I think, again, he's kind of coming off of a high. I think people are very keen on him this year, whereas I think his value is probably going to remain reasonably high, but I don't think it's ever going to be as high as it is right now. So I'm selling Waller.
Yeah. I think
Go ahead.
I like Foster Moreau behind him. He is a little bit older. They're going to add more weapons, and I don't think he's going to catch anybody by surprise. So I don't know. He's going like top 6 tight ends right now, and I'm not really on board with that.
And you saw the last 3 games of the season, the last 3 or 4 games of the season last year, Hunter Renfro's target share just went way up. And I think he's going to get a lot of those intermediate throws as opposed to Waller.
Yeah, and I mean, if they add a wide receiver 1, then it's just game over. So, which I very much think they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey, you gotta sell.
I'm going to say with the quarterbacks, guys. Yeah. Fuck you both.
Who you selling?
Ryan Tannehill.
I was hoping you were going to say Derek Carr.
I should have. So I've totally changed my tune. I'm selling Derek Carr.
So hold on. I do want to go on the record and say that while we were on break, Andrew let Joey know that he had a Derek Carr share and wanted to know if Joey wanted to buy that Derek Carr share, and Joey said no.
Because I was good at quarterback.
Sure. He's a buy, but you're just not buying.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
Tell us a little bit about Ryan Tannehill, please.
Ryan Tannehill. He's coming off a very productive season, but he's in a run-first offense, and he was good in what he played 12 games last season. He started 12 games. So, I mean, he was pretty productive when he was in Miami, but it was never like a top 10 quarterback. So I think after the 12 games he had last season, mixed in with that run-first offense, I'm going to sell him, and I think you can get a decent value for him. He's going, what was he going around? Like you said, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
A little bit behind Kirk, I think, but pretty close.
I'd much rather have Kirk Cousins over Ryan Tannehill, to be honest.
Definitely. So the fact that Tannehill played the first part of his career with Adam Gase doesn't really.
I know.
I mean, last year was the first year we saw him without Adam Gase,
and he looked good.
So I think he was PFF's highest graded quarterback, I believe.
Over the final weeks of the season, he led the league in like several metrics. Like I think PFF QBR, average yards per net yards per attempt, like efficiency stats. He was like off the charts in terms of efficiency. He wasn't high volume, but he still put up I think over 20 fantasy points in like 6 of those 8 weeks, despite the relatively low volume. Like he was just super efficient. I think we referenced in a previous episode, and he was a hold for me just because I don't think he has any value.
I think the biggest factor will be in Tannehill's season is going to be Derrick Henry, how successful Derrick Henry is. Teams had to stack the box against Derrick Henry last year, and he was still successful, but it opened up a lot of man coverage. And A.J. Brown on the outside, he showed he can beat virtually anybody on the outside. Jonnu Smith, he's kind of a matchup nightmare at tight end. And I think he has the weapons, but if teams can limit Derrick Henry, then I think it's going to limit Ryan Tannehill.
Do you have Ryan Tannehill anywhere?
I don't. I might have him one place.
All right.
Why, you want to buy him?
Yeah, I'll buy him. So, take a look.
I'm looking at it.
I'm selling because older running back, he got franchise tagged, which generally means they're not going to try and work on a long-term deal. These running backs that are going elsewhere are not really getting lucrative contracts. We have a good running back class this year. It's probably going to be a decent running back class next year with Chuba Hubbard.
Etienne.
Yep. Chuba Hubbard, Etienne, and Najee Harris in addition to the guys that are going to be coming out. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be super long for his role, his feature role, especially given that he's catching passes, but that's not really where he excels. So he's probably not going to retain that role on a different team. And I don't know how well his body will hold up over time, given the way that he runs and the volume he runs with. So Derrick Henry is a sell for me. Andrew, you got another sell?
Yeah, I got a few to choose from actually. So again, I don't want to go strictly on QBs. I'm gonna say Devontae Adams, and I'm gonna with the caveat that I also think that Aaron Rodgers is a sell, because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to. I think he's already sort of started to fall off the cliff, and I think it's going to be ugly this year. I think he's going to fall off the cliff even more so. I think Devontae Adams is going to suffer because of it. I know Adams was able to perform last year despite the fact that Rodgers was not playing with his previous efficiency, and they were not throwing the ball at the same volume that Rodgers is accustomed to because they sort of got the running game going a little bit last year. But I think it's going to continue to move in that direction. I think that Adams' volume is going to remain or even decline relatively low to earlier in his career, and I think the efficiency of the targets is going to fall off as well because I think Rodgers just I don't think he's Drew Brees or Tom Brady. I don't think he's going to play until he's 40. I think he's just about done.
All right, I don't disagree with that entirely. I think that a large part of his value is going to depend on who comes after Rodgers, but I don't know. I think with the exception of a few really bad quarterbacks, I think receivers tend to do okay when quarterbacks switch over. It's guys like Trubisky that are just that bad that they just tank value. Guys like Trubisky, guys like Derek Carr, guys like Jimmy.
I knew these were both coming as soon as you said that.
You didn't even let me get to Jimmy Garoppolo.
I didn't. I knew you were going to say it.
All right. Joey, let's hear yourself.
It doesn't seem too smart because he's young, but I'm going to sell DJ Shark. I think that's still a run-first offense, and I am not sold on Gardner Minshew. I feel like the offense itself is pretty inefficient. Was that one of your guys?
Minshew? I love Minshew.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I feel like it's an inefficient offense, and I think the 1,000 yards is something that he's not going to top again.
Yeah, I was never a big DJ Chark fan. If I had him, I'd be selling him right now just because I don't really believe in him. But I understand the people that do. They believed in him, and then he produced, and obviously you're going to keep believing in him. So, yeah, I think if you have him and you don't believe in him, now is the time to sell. And because a lot of people really like him right now. So, Andrew? He just has the look of a DJ Chark fan over there.
No, I've never been on the DJ Chark train. He and I'm a little bit fuzzy on when he came out. Was it 3 years ago? Is he going into his fourth year?
I think he's going into his third year.
Anyway, I remember him profiling as sort of one of those size speed guys that I'm not historically a big fan of. So I wasn't a big fan of coming into the league, and he didn't do anything early in his career to change my mind. I think last year might have been a little bit of a flash in the pan, and again, he's one of those guys where I think similar to Waller, he's probably seen his fantasy high.
When you say early in his career, do you mean strictly the first year of his career? Last year was the second year.
Was it early the second year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
He didn't have any competition in his rookie year. Like, why was he not able to?
He didn't have any competition last year either.
Right, but he produced.
Right.
Why did it? I don't know.
Quarterback changeover.
First of all, quarterbacks. Second of all, rookie wide receivers a lot of times take a little time to get going. Third of all, D.D. Westbrook is the fucking man. All right. Myself, Leonard Fournette. Basically the same shit as Derrick Henry. I don't think he's going to be around the team all that long. I don't think he's going to get re-signed. If he goes somewhere else, I don't think he's going to get the volume that he's getting right now. I don't think his body is going to hold up even more so than Derrick Henry because of the violent running style. And on top of that, he already has nagging injuries and all that. I don't know. For me, I'm definitely not on the Fournette or Derrick Henry train. Either of you guys disagree?
No, I'm with you.
I think Fournette passed under the age bar that I set, so I think I'm not ready to sell him yet, but I think you can ride him for one more year and then you want to sell
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't want to wait for the year that Fournette falls off because like right now I think he's going like round 4 of
Yeah,
startups.
he's still got some pretty good value.
Yeah, if he gets shipped off the Jaguars, like he's not going round 4. He's going rounds 8 to 10, I think, and that's assuming that he has a productive year next year. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm off that train now. I'm selling them anywhere I have them. But you guys have anybody else you want to talk about real quick? We got about another minute before we go to break.
I'm going to sell Darrell Henderson. I'm just not sold on him being the back in with the Rams. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
I feel like his perceived value of being the RB1 for the Rams is enough to get at least a second-round pick for him.
Do you
Is
have
his
many where
perceived-
you could sell him?
I don't, because
Yeah.
there's somebody that usually takes him earlier than I think. Oh, I think it's you, Andrew.
Because I was gonna jump on that. I was gonna call your bluff there again, but
Yeah.
I don't own him anywhere.
I mean, I have them. You can trade with me, Andrew, but I know you're going to send me a trash offer anyway, so I'll probably reject it. The thing is, though, like right now, I don't know that people are looking at Darrell Henderson like he's the starter. Like, if you look at this last draft, like I think he went round like 15-ish.
Mhm.
Granted, it's got IDP involved, so it's a little later, but that still equates to like round 11, 12. Like, that's not where the starter for the Rams would go. Like, if the Rams don't draft a running back or sign anybody by the time the season starts, you're getting Henderson a lot. You have to get him a lot earlier than round 12. If the Rams go and draft J.K. Dobbins, you're going to have to take J.K. Dobbins before round 12. Like right now, nobody's drafting Darrell Henderson like he's the starter. They're kind of in that in-between range, which is why I have him as a hold.
do you think the Rams are going out to get J.K. Dobbins?
No.
Do they even have the draft capital to go out and get J.K. Dobbins?
No, they don't.
They just got a second rounder, didn't they?
They're not
the Brandon
taking
Cooks
J.K.
deal.
Dobbins with it, though.
They
No,
have
need
bigger
an offense.
problems.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like they can kind of fit into the same mold as the Niners, where they don't need to invest capital at the running back position because they can scheme guys into being productive at the running back position, which is why I think it's unlikely they're going to bring in competition for Henderson. Now Brown is still in house, and I believe he was very efficient last year as a runner. I think he was more efficient than Gurley last year as a runner. So I think he could definitely challenge him for it. I'm not saying that Henderson is the guy. I'm saying, like, I believe in Henderson that if he were given the chance, he would produce, and so I'm willing to buy on the suspicion that at some point this year he will have an opportunity.
And those are the people that I'm trying to sell to.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and then I'll be back to give my case for holding Darrell Henderson.
Dynasty Football Digest, your new essential site for Dynasty information. For as little as $1 a month, gain access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, trends, ADP, in-season assets, and a Slack chat just for subscribers. Purchase today at dynastyfootballdigest.com.
All right, and now we're going to talk about some of our dynasty holds. So getting back to Darrell Henderson here, I don't think that people are treating him like he's the starter right now. And like Andrew said, I think he will get the opportunity at some point this year, whether or not they draft somebody. And I think they will draft somebody. I don't think it'll be early. I think they'll probably bring in someone, like round 5, like Michael Warren or Anthony McFarland or something like that. And I think that's okay. But I think if you're holding now and he even is the lead back of a committee this year, you're going to see his value go up. And if you don't believe in him, that's when you sell him. Because right now, I think everybody's kind of assuming that he's not going to be the lead back, which to me is kind of a weird assumption. I don't know. I think he's going to be the lead back in a committee this year, and I think that when that comes to pass, that's when you sell him. So, Joey, any thoughts?
So what you're saying is, in the end, he's a sell.
Yeah, but you're holding right now. Definitely holding.
See, you're holding off the perception that people don't think he's going to be the lead back, and I'm selling off the perception that people do think he's a lead back.
Right, but the ADP doesn't support your side. Like no lead backs are going in like round 12.
So like, what are you selling
Chris
him
Carson.
for? What are you selling him for right now, Joey? What are you looking for in return for Darrell Henderson if you theoretically had him, which you don't?
I'd take a mid to low second.
I'd give that.
I'd give that easily.
I'd take that. I'd take that, no problem.
That's the reason why you don't have any shares of him.
Yeah, that's why you don't have any shares.
I'm just low on him.
All right. Andrew, who are you holding?
I'm holding, and I actually had Derek Carr as a hold, but I'm going to talk about Jameis Winston. I think in the context of Superflex, I think that he's a hold. I think he's going to get another opportunity somewhere, some way. Maybe not even this year, but I would even entertain the idea of holding him for a year theoretically in a Superflex. Probably not in a 1 QB, but he's just so productive. You know what I mean? Like unless you're in a league that really penalizes sacks and interceptions, then his upside, I think, outweighs his downside because obviously last year he was a product of the Arians offense as well last year, how well he produced, but like even before that he was still putting up reasonable fantasy numbers. So I think if he finds the right landing spot, which if you look at Fitzmagic, like people kept taking chances on him, right? I think he's going to land somewhere as a quote unquote premium backup, right? I think there's more upside with Winston than there is with Mariota, and so
more downside too.
Oh, for sure. No, Mariota's the guy if you want a game manager, if you've got a solid run game and defense, and Winston's the guy if you want to light it up in a shootout and
just
lose,
go for it
and lose 45-36 every week, right?
How would you feel about doing a league just called Jameis Winston where you get points for touchdowns and interceptions?
That'd be interesting.
Just out there.
Are you familiar with the Bad Quarterback League?
Sort of. We do a league called Degenerates every year where it's in the middle of our busiest night of the year at work, and we do a draft with just whoever is sitting around, and like an hour before the draft, everybody who's in it adds a rule, and it's just something stupid where like you have to start 2 kickers and you only get points for missed field goals, like just shit like that. And so everybody adds just a stupid rule to the point where like nobody knows who's good anymore, and you just you're like drafting during the busiest day of the year, and it's like 30-second picks. So you're just like frantic, like you miss half your picks, and you're just telling customers to fuck off while you try and get your picks done. So yeah, we've done some bad QB leagues, but
nice.
Joey, who are you holding?
I'm going to hold OJ Howard for 1 more year. I think he hasn't done really virtually anything with Tampa Bay. And I know Arians is not a tight end guy, but Tom Brady is. And I don't know. I think OJ he's just too good not to be productive. There's got to be something. Was it Jameis Winston or is it really Howard? But you're not getting anything for him right now if you try to sell him.
Bruce Arians doesn't use tight ends.
I know.
So that's what it is. I mean, he had a promising rookie year.
I think we talked about this before, and I don't think it's Winston because Winston made Brate pretty productive, right? Brate had a couple good years before, and then
I think Brate was more of a red zone though. He wasn't really like productive.
Sure,
I know what you mean though. You're right.
Fantasy relevance.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think we talked about this before. Does Brady favor the tight end, or did he just favor 2 extremely talented tight ends during their primes? Right, like. I don't think the outside of Gronk and a couple years of Hernandez, he has shown a preference for throwing to the tight end. He throws the talented players that get open.
No, I agree with you with that 100%. But at Brady's point of his career, I think he's going to be more of a under route guy, a guy across the middle. I don't know. I just feel like O.J. Howard's routes will fit more of Tom Brady's what he has left in his arm.
Oh, are you saying he's cooked?
I'm just saying he hasn't really had a great deep ball since Randy Moss.
He was pretty good throwing
last
the ball
year.
deep last year.
Yeah, he had good numbers last year.
Yeah, but how many times did he do it? He didn't really throw the ball. You think so?
Yeah, we'll pull these numbers for next week, and we'll come back and just cook you.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. So my hold then, I'm holding David Johnson. Because
you would hold a Johnson.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
You can't sell them, so you might as well hold them.
Right, and I think he's in a situation now where you're going to get the chance to sell him. Like, he's going really late now. Like, late to the point where, like, you're taking backup running backs and David Johnson's still on the board. Like, I get that he hasn't been productive, but, like, there's nobody else there, and they don't really have a whole lot going on in the backfield there. So I just kind of think he's de facto going to be that lead back, and they're going to get him the ball. So I think at some point he has that like 15, 16 point game, whatever, and somebody's like, okay, I can get on board with this. Then you can sell him.
And poor Duke Johnson again, because David Johnson's best trait is receiving out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, Duke Johnson's career is just over. It's just terrible.
Poor guy. I mean, he's talented.
Yeah, nobody's giving him a shot to actually be a running back. It's really weird, but
sucks.
Andrew, who's your hold?
I'm still on the holding Damian Williams train. I think we talked about this a lot last season, I think, and I think I'm not going to say I was alone, but I think it was a little bit higher on Damian Williams going to last year than most people were. People were like, oh no, like they'll bring in a guy, they'll give Darwin Thompson the job or whatever. I really like Damian Williams, and I think that he's still not being given the value that he deserves in that offense, the way that he produced. When healthy last year, he had a couple injury concerns, but he came back and he was unbelievable in the playoffs in general, I think, last year. So
Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I think A, he's going to keep the job, and B, I think that job more than anything is extremely valuable, and you're not getting what he's worth out of him if you're selling him. So I'm just going to keep holding him until I'm happy to sell him for the right price, but I don't think that the price is there, so I'm holding him.
Yeah, I hear you.
He was actually on my buy list, but I will ask you this. So if you're going to sell all running backs over 24, but you're holding Damian Williams, what are you doing there?
It's just a value thing, right? Like I said, I'm happy to sell him if I can get what I perceive to be value for him, but like he's just not being given the appropriate value by anyone that I've seen doing any rankings.
Yeah, so, his potential upside far outvalues what people are willing to give up for him.
Right, and his potential downside, I think, is pretty low too. So it's definitely a gamble with Damian Williams, but like I said, he was on my buy list, so I'm in on that gamble. Let's see, Joey, you got one more hold?
I'm going to hold on to Tyler Lockett. He seemed his numbers went down a little bit last year with the emergence of DK Metcalf, but I think the fact that he's still such a great route runner and he's a speedster and Russell Wilson has one of the best deep balls in the game, I think the added attention that DK Metcalf will get this year is actually going to help out Tyler Lockett quite a bit. And I don't think after the season he had, like last year he had a productive season, but it wasn't a huge season. It was more like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. And I think he could be wide receiver 2 moving forward.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Andrew's going to disagree, so here we come.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm trying to bring up his game log from last year because I feel like he was injured for a fair amount of last year.
It was for a couple games, I think, around like week 10-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, but
it was something like a knee contusion or a leg contusion or something.
He didn't miss any games. He recorded stats in every single game. So so that surprised me actually a little bit. So what would you say his stats were last year, just off the top of your head?
I want to say it was like 900 yards and like 7 touchdowns.
Okay. On how many catches?
Probably 61.
Okay, Sean, go ahead.
No, just let's hear it.
All right. 82 catches for 1,057 yards and 8 touchdowns, which is higher than I would have thought. That's actually like a pretty reasonable fantasy season for a guy on a run first team. I'm sort of impressed by that. I like it absolutely. I think I think he's a guy where you're not going to get enough out of selling him that I'd rather just hang on to him and let him continue to produce 1,000-yard touchdown seasons on my fantasy team, right? And didn't he last year have like one of the most hyped catches of the year last year? The like edge of the end zone, like back shoulder fade for like what is he 5'10"?
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable throw, but it was an unbelievable catch as well.
Mm-hmm.
The throw was definitely better than the catch, but yeah, it was definitely a stellar play overall. So I'm gonna get my last hold in here, and it's the Breida Mostert combo. I think one of them is gonna start. I don't know which one. I don't think you're getting any kind of value for either of them at this point. Just hold them both, see what happens.
Yeah. I'm still really worried about that backfield because Tevin Coleman's contract just got guaranteed $2.2 million, so they're holding on to him. They're not going to get rid of him. As of April 1st, his contract got guaranteed. But still, I mean, he lost the job last year to almost Breida early in the season, and then at the end of the season, he lost it to Mostert.
Yeah, I have no idea what that backfield's going to look like. So if you have any part of it, you're holding to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to be totally honest, you kind of just have to hold it until either they're cut or until you feel good about selling it. You can't like you're never going to hit a point where you feel good about any of them as the back there.
Right.
So, all right. This has been Dynasty Football Digest. You can find our written content at dynastyfootballdigest.com or at idpguys.org. You can follow us on Twitter at Lanny1925, Andrew at BiddyCentFF, and Joey at Joey the Tooth IDP. On the websites, you can subscribe. You will get access to our Slack channel, trade calculator, rankings, ADP. For the ADP, you can get IDP rankings, offensive ADP, and then combined. We have all our rookie rankings up as well for offense and defense, I believe, at this point. And then we do have a draft magazine coming. So I think it's 122 prospects ranked. We have tons of information on all of them. We have a really good team of people that are doing all these scouting reports on them. And we're going to have that. It's available for pre-order right now, and then it'll be ready to ship shortly after the NFL draft. So check that out. And we will be back next week. And I have no idea what we're going to talk about next.
Something fun.
Fantasy football.
Probably. Maybe.
That makes sense.
Maybe not.
The IDP Guys is your #1 resource for IDP information for your fantasy leagues. For as little as $1 a month, get access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, ADP, trade calculator, in-season assets, and a Slack chat to get personal help all year round. Purchase today at idpguys.org.
Thanks for listening. Dynasty Football Digest. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Nasty A, got you, homie. Good production right here. We the Digest Network. And my name's Clockwise Across. Shout out to Uncle David.